Hey guys, welcome to the brand new video, and today we're going to be covering the first half of a Generation Tech video. This motherfucker, he is a part of the Star Wars fandom. I'll explain why I covered this later on in the video, but, if you have fun, like and sub. And if you don't, say in the comment section that you fucking hate my guts and you want me to die and you think I literally shouldn't have a family.
Out on June 4th. I typically don't really like talking about shows before they come out, especially if I don't know any of the characters or storylines that are going into the show. But then again, that's the whole reason why. The Acolyte is different and, dare I say, very important. Unlike Rogue One, Solo, Kenobi, Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka, and even Andor. The Acolyte is not only going to be introducing an entirely new set of characters, but it's also going to be introducing an entirely new story and period in galactic history.
And I'm pretty fucking worried. Not gonna lie, Lucasfilm has just proven time and time again that they can't really introduce new ideas without fucking up something else, and it's really getting annoying. It really is.
And if we were in a saner world, in a world with maybe less social media, I think for most Star Wars fans that would be welcome news. It'd be awesome news.
I disagree. I just disagree. Because obviously, if everything before they introduced this new idea sucked, right? Well then, it's fucking null and void. And also, every time something lasts longer than a fucking season or two, they ruin it. Which is why I'm glad Andor is ending well, so we don't have to worry about that bullshit.
And I always loved Star Wars because I feel freer in this galaxy. It was a place where things look kind of familiar. I mean, the stories and experiences definitely are something I could relate to, but the setting was always magical and so out of this world that exploration and experimentation could be done with little to no consequences. Simply put, it's a good place to talk about things that in real life might be too painful or serious to discuss.
Yes, Star Wars Left is trying to completely destroy everything. It is a sickness. A sickness. But for real though, they're trying to make this stuff feel more real, which is giving blow black because, people want this shit to be fake as fuck. They want it to be destroyed, dismantled, gone. Obsidian crystallized.
The real world politics has invaded the actual creation of Star Wars shows, and you guys probably know what I'm talking about. Their entire personalities and channels just dedicated to negativity, conspiracy theories, and just hatred for this franchise. It goes beyond constructive criticism because a lot of these voices have nothing positive to say at all. And listen, I don't hate these channels. I try not to, at least. I am very frustrated by them.
I get down in them fucking trenches and fight them motherfuckers then. You may not hate them, but they can ruin the stuff you love dearly. If you want new ideas, not necessarily good, but new, well then, you need to get out there and fight them. But for real though, you gotta get down there. These places will become more and more radical without intervention from other communities around them.
And so these tech bros have created an algorithm that really preys on the fear centers in our brain, like the dark side, like the Sith. And so when you create a video about the Acolyte, for instance, the title, The Lore Behind the Acolytes, will not do nearly as well as, the insidious woke ideology in the Acolyte that is destroying America. Because, that title, it creates a sense of danger that you need to click on this to know what's happening, what's threatening your family, and so on. And so the crazy thing is, the creators who make this content, I don't even think they believe half the crazy shit they say. I mean, forget about all the politics, forget about the anti-woke versus the woke stuff. I don't think people actually care that much about this. This is all driven by the freaking algorithm.
Gotta break that right now. Okay, so basically, you will think that these motherfuckers don't care when they actually do. You see, the fucking issue is that these motherfuckers really, really, really do fucking care. They can tell you almost anything about Star Wars, okay? They might be a little racist, a little sexist, but they care a lot about the Star Wars. But when you see a woman come on and be the main character, and that thing sucks, And then there's a pattern of everything with a woman in it, everything with a minority in it, alright? It's just fucking sucking balls, sucking big fat sweaty dick. Alright, you're going to be like, oh my god, women just shouldn't be in Star Wars. Because, holy shit, it fucking sucks. Like, Jesus Christ.
No, seriously, I got so pissed off when Andor came out because this was genuinely one of the best pieces of cinema to ever come out in the Star Wars franchise. It might be my favorite show I've ever seen. I mean, Andor was entertaining and exciting like all Star Wars films tend to be, but it was also thoughtful and beautiful. It was a cinematic masterpiece with deep, poignant commentary about society and the systems that control it. And so I remember making my first review video of Andor. I was extremely excited. I was like, oh, Star Wars is back. I mean, this makes up for all the trash we saw during the sequel trilogy, and you know, lo and behold, all the comments were, Andor is woke. I'll never watch another piece of Disney woke trash. And it was so clear to me, like, that all these negative comments, these were people who didn't actually watch the show.
I support the high levels of moral conviction that the people who did not watch this show because they think it's woke is fucking amazing. I think that's good, and I think people should do this. Because, you know, you believing in a moral system means that you have to even do these things, even if you think, well, that thing is going to make you miserable for never seeing it, right? If your ideology requires you to think everything a certain side or a certain group does is fucking bad, stick near your moral convictions even if it hurts you. Obviously.
I mean, if you know the showrunner for Andor, Tony Gilroy, he's the creator of the Bourne series. He's not into identity politics. He just makes great content. And Andor, in my opinion, is some of his finest work. But Andor ultimately didn't do nearly as well as it should have. I partly blame it on the overwhelming negativity of the online creator community. And that really pisses me off because, like, Andor was exactly what the online community wanted. It's what they were badgering Disney about for the longest time. Make something that's actually good, that's actually well thought out.
Okay, so what I hear from Star Wars Theory, it's that these motherfuckers want a good show with all the magic and shit in it from the actual Star Wars series. They don't want this normie ass shit that you could find in fucking Blade Runner. They want this shit to feel. They want this shit to feel like Star Wars. And apparently the only thing that feels like Star Wars is actually the fucking Mandalorians and all that stuff. You know, it's fucking wild. It's fucking wild. But, you know, moving on.
It takes the content seriously. And that's what they did with Andor. But instead of being a huge financial success, Andor performed very mediocrely, and I'm afraid that this might encourage Lucasfilm to not go this route again. Well, at least after the second final season of Andor. I mean, if you hate pop culture and Star Wars so much, why even continue making a channel about Star Wars and pop culture?
Alright, okay, let's hit your stupid head over the fucking head with this one. You know, you can say everything about the franchise is bad and still like the franchise, you know? You like the ideas they produce, you like pretty much everything that, you know, the series comes up with in ideas. You just never like how they're actually, you know, portrayed or given to you, right? You can like female Jedi all you want, but we can all agree that Rey is like the worst thing I've ever seen in my entire life. So, you know, it's like, fuck me, fuck you, watch while I do it too, you know, stuff like that. Peace. Obviously, peace and love. But, you know, fuck them and their implementation of ideas. Just fuck them.
It's so clear, like, that the algorithm has enslaved these people and their content. And with The Acolyte, I really do fear the same thing is going to happen again. You know, the fans who might like this show the most are now going to be missing out because of all of this negativity that's being generated before anyone's even seen this show. I mean, it is crazy. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do have my concerns about The Acolyte, like a lot of you guys do, but I'm going to watch the show because I'm a Star Wars fan. And what's the criticism this time? What are the reasons why people are saying they're not going to watch the show? What, because there's a female director? Because there's a female protagonist? Like, I mean, don't we all have mothers? Don't we all have, like, sisters and wives and girlfriends? Like, Why be so afraid of women? And
Obviously, if every single time you put a woman as the main lead, the story tends to fucking suck. Unless you're watching the fucking TV shows. Or playing, the video games. But, Star Wars Outlaw isn't out yet. So I'm gonna hit you with this. If Star Wars Outlaws is fucking trash, I'm going to literally lose my mind, because they're invading, they're destroying, they're dismantling the only good thing about Star Wars other than the fucking animated TV shows. So, I'm gonna definitely say woman destroyed Star Wars if it affects the shit that I like. But also, you have to understand, bro, this shit is just fucking mesmerizingly bad on how they can fucking fuck this up so bad to where we just don't want women in our Star Wars TV shows anymore. We're just like, fuck it, we don't need it. And that's all we're saying.
yeah, you know what, guys? I do understand where Kathleen Kennedy is coming from when she talks about wanting to create more jobs for women in the creative industry. I never worked at very high levels in production, but in another life, I was a cinematographer for some commercials here and there. And yeah, it was a male-dominated industry, and more importantly, it's an industry where there's just way too many people trying to get in, and no easy way to sort through the masses of applicants for jobs. And so generally people, hire people that they like. And a lot of times men hire men and women hire women, but there just aren't many women to begin with in that industry. So it's just a thing that happens. And so what Kathleen Kennedy is doing by hiring female directors and cinematographers is completely valid and standard practice. Yes, maybe she is a bit political. Maybe she shouldn't rile up the fans so much because she is the president of Lucasfilm, but she has every right to do this. And I don't understand why we get triggered by this stuff nowadays. Men out there, guys, women are not threats to us. They're the other half of our society.
Building off my own point I made earlier, it's quite literally, you're riling off the fans. You're riling them up. Okay, you're making them hate the women. You want them destroyed because you're constantly riling up the fans. Now, you're constantly saying that we just shouldn't give a shit, that you're trying to rile us up, right? And I personally never do, because I'm cool as fuck like that. But, if everybody else becomes very, very fucking reactionary and thinks, oh my god, all these things that women are making, all these things that women are in, just fucking suck, of course I'm just gonna be like, hell no, to the nah, and tell y'all asses to get the fuck away from my fucking franchise. Obviously.
And without them, we're not balanced. We need each other, right? This used to be obvious, dude. No, seriously, I do wish, though, sometimes that Kathleen Kennedy had more tact in how she approaches things. I often point out how Joe Biden announced during his presidential campaign that he would find a black female to be his vice president. That's definitely a nice gesture, but, he probably never considered the fact that he set Kamala Harris up to fail by saying something like that, as if her only qualifications were her skin color and gender. And so when Kathleen Kennedy, who is in a position of power, complains that it's a struggle for female creators and actresses to function in the male-dominated Star Wars fandom, which is toxic, I think she's really... There is some truth to what she's saying, but she's also generalizing an entire fandom of men.
It's really, really fucking wild that she hasn't been fired yet, with all the shit she says that is so fucking stupid. It gives me an aneurysm. I wanna die. I jump off cliffs now in Borderlands for no reason. But, there's nothing I can do except for not watching their content when it comes out, except for the fucking animated shows and buying the fucking video games. But, damn, dude, it really does suck.
And, the truth is, most of us, we're not toxic like this at all. It's a small minority that ruins everything and that escalates this fight back and forth between Lucasfilm and then the fans. It's so frustrating. And Kathleen Kennedy also seems to, fall into this trap of putting all of Disney Star Wars' past failures and struggles on the audience and the fact that they hate women, which, again, is just not true. They're
let's be entirely fucking clear. If the fans aren't pushing a show, that show may die. Okay, you need to push that out everywhere. You need to make it feel like everybody is welcoming new fans in there. If I say, and I go out there and say, The Last Jedi is the best movie in the entire Star Wars series, I will get destroyed. Not by people who fucking are like just casually disagreeing, but they'll be like, what the fuck are you smoking, you dumb whore? Fucking kill yourself. You want Disney Star Wars? Oh, you fucking whore, you kill yourself. And that doesn't help anybody. Okay? It's fucking wild. It's a long con, a long fucking thing. But all you can fucking do is just be like, holy shit, these niggas are insane. You don't want to join the fandom, and you definitely don't want to watch the TV shows, which means you have to interact with these people. So, like, the fans ruin this shit, but it's also partially Kathleen Kennedy's fault, right? It's a 50-50 split. Both parties have to make that thing wildly appealing. And that's how fucking Star Wars works.
I'm saying that Kathleen Kennedy might not seem fair, but this is the business world, and, you know, instead of just antagonizing the toxic fandom, the so-called toxic fandom, try to reach out to them. Try to, like, extend an olive branch. This isn't war. This is Star Wars. Like, you don't have to draw lines in the sand, for God's sake. There are, like, bigger issues in the world that we can worry about, right? Either way, as you can tell, I don't have much skin in this identity politics game. I really hate it. It's like one of my biggest pet peeves. It's something I really could do without. As you can tell, I travel a lot, and I like to see the world, and like this is like a first world problem, this identity politics stuff. Like, there's so much suffering, chaos, poverty, warfare, death in the wider world, and it has nothing to do with this identity politics. It's really not that important, guys. It really isn't.
I'm pretty sure wars are fought over identity all the time. I'm pretty sure things like, you know, the fucking things going down in Gaza and shit like that. You know, stuff like that is happening. It's obvious, it's a plan, it's a thing, but you know, fucking people aren't fighting wars over identity in the modern age, so I guess it's now a first world problem.
Named Seoul, played by the famed Korean actor Lee Jung-jae, who was only recently introduced to global audiences in the surprise hit Squid Games, where he plays the main protagonist. This guy's actually an extremely talented actor. He's been famous in Korea for like decades. What is interesting is that he actually doesn't speak English. I think he learned English for this role. I do worry that Lucasfilm chose him because of his recent popularity and recognition in the Squid Games. I mean, I recently just found this interview where he admits that he has no idea why he was cast for this role until he did a little more background research on the Jedi and found that, like, there are some Eastern influences beyond the martial arts.
So when I was first casted, I wonder, you know, why me? Why was I selected to be Master Soul? Why did Leslie pick me, and why did Disney and Lucasfilms agree with her? And I realized that there is, you know, there's some inspiration of like Asian martial arts within the way that the Jedis are. So I felt like, oh, maybe it was kind of instinctual for them to cast an Asian actor for this role.
You know,
Well, you know, at least he tried. The context isn't really sufficient. Do you expect us to go out of our way to watch that channel after we watch yours? Come on, man. You need to explain the context a little bit fucking harder next time. But, you know, it's the end of the video. It's the end of the part I wanted to cover anyway. Hopefully you had a great day. I watched the entire video all the way through. Make sure you go to his channel and fucking give him your ad revenue as well, obviously. Everyone could use a few extra dollars out in this YouTube game, these YouTube circumstances. Anyway, peace and love. I'll see you guys later.
Suck my dick. Put your nose up in these britches. We'll see a deep throat, 0.5 inches. Yeah. Suck my dick. I stuck my fingers in. You were high on heroin. Are you now remembering? Suck my dick. Suck my dick.